Hello, newsies. Welcome to another episode, episode 66. So, three off the big one. Episode 66 of Get the Flick Out of Here. I'm your host, Alex, and this is Kate. And Kate's at a professional podcast conference.
I am, or I was.
She gave a keynote speech yesterday.
I'm very important.
All about thanking me for giving her a start in the business. So
It's just like
I want to thank you.
A half hour of praising Alex and burying Sean. No, I did talk about commitment to bits though, and the importance of it. So
yes, which we do not know anything about in our work.
I was like, this is what I've heard is important.
Yeah.
I just wing it.
Sorry for the late start. My computer decided to force a restart on me at like 2 minutes to showtime, and I was like, "That's not a listener. You're not allowed to do that." So,
Alex, I think it's safe to say we are not techers. Okay, I've got this setup going. Mm-hmm. You've got a computer that's like, I'll restart when I feel like restarting.
It's such a rebellious teenager.
It is.
You can't tell me what to do, Dad.
Well, boy, oh boy, did we have some familial relationships to navigate, and what is one of the most indefensible movies I think that we've ever done.
Okay.
Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I should have known. Okay, I should have known when this movie was available nowhere except in a low-res version on YouTube. That means it's doing so little, people don't even bother to copyright strike it on YouTube because it's that bad. And I also should have known because I saw a Twitter interaction with you and my friend Ryan from the Mark Order podcast, and I got an aggressive text saying, "You better effing defend this movie." And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll lean in. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just be like, you know what, Alex? It was bad, but it was a fun watch, and here's why. This was awful. Like I can't do it with this. Like I can't even pretend. Like this is one of the ones where you're like, how on earth did this get made? Like, how does a movie with zero redeeming qualities get made? And not zero redeeming qualities and like, haha, it fell apart. Like, oh my God. This was so boring and bad.
In a rare shocking turn of events, I'm going to defend this more than you are. Still, spoiler alert, gonna get it the flick out of here, but it's close. I'm sorry. It's I'll chalk that up to nostalgia.
Are we in Bizarro World?
I'm gonna chalk it up to nostalgia.
Here's my immediate problem. It's called Surf Ninjas, okay?
Right.
Surf, great.
Yeah.
Ninjas, great. Yeah. Surf Ninjas,
sure,
should be phenomenal.
Should be, yeah. Not phenomenal. There's no way I will sit here and tell you this is a good movie, or as your horribly misguided friend Ryan says, an instant classic. There's no way I'll sit here and defend it as such. It's not good. But there are for the target audience, which was preteen boys in 1993, I will tell you, it was a home run. And it has a target audience, and it meets its target audience expectations. That is, at bare minimum, what a movie should do. Looking back on it 30 years later, because this is the 30th anniversary, was last year, and Ernie Reyes Jr. tweeted out, "Hey, happy 30th anniversary."
Kept track of the anniversary of the release of this movie.
Well, no, Ernie, this is a major starring vehicle for its star, Ernie Reyes Jr. And this is for preteen boys at the time. I feel like this is a thing. Like
it barely had babes. It barely had babes.
Preteen boys. Okay. Not teenage boys. They're not watching this crap. But it's like between the ages of 9 and 11. My brother was 10 when this came out and we watched the first time. If you had asked him as a 10-year-old boy, what is your favorite movie of all time? He would have said Surf Ninjas without batting an eye. Okay? That is the kind of thing this was aiming for. Okay? Looking back on it now, the best I can say about it is that it is a supremely silly movie. Like, that's being generous with all of the ridiculousness about it. It is silly and trying to be silly, as opposed to so many things that we watch that is silly and it's not trying to be silly. This is silly while trying to be silly.
Checking my calendar real quick because you're being so generous that I thought maybe we were getting close to Christmas, like sooner than I thought, because you got to be in a jolly mood for this one. It was at least attempting to be silly, but I got to say, for such an extensive plot that involves royalty and surfing and ninjas, it's so boring. Like,
well, yes, there are certainly parts of the movie that are incredibly boring.
I from like 20 minutes in through the rest of this was waiting for Rob Schneider to turn heel.
Oh no! You're watching the movie wrong if you think Rob Schneider's a comedy sidekick. He's never turning heel.
But when he was like, this is what I thought. I immediately gave this
you expected far too much of this movie if you thought there was going to be a big swerve at the end where Rob Schneider, who's been saying, no, I'm the real king the whole time, tries to usurp the throne from his best friend. No, that was never a thing that was going to happen.
Well, so I guess we can just talk about the stupid movie. It was when he like refused to get in the ocean with them initially, when he was like, I'm waxing my surfboard, just over here waxing my surfboard, that I was like, because he knows they're surf ninjas.
Yeah. Yeah. So the best thing that I could, the way you can describe this movie very quickly, like if it was like on the back of the DVD cover, which yes, I bought the DVD because I could not stand the low res version on YouTube, and I'm going to send it to my brother as a birthday gift.
You spent money on this?
I did. I spent money on the DVD of this because it's going to double as me rewatching it during the week, as I do with all of our picks, and then I'm going to send it to my brother as a birthday present.
Oh my God.
He's gonna really dig it. And it's so honestly, it's a double use thing.
It's not even that you're sending him the DVD; it's that it's going to be a used copy of the DVD. That makes me even more excited about this. Please let us know his reaction and circle back.
He's gonna love it. It's about two kids growing up in what appears to be Santa Monica area of Los Angeles, and a guy with an eye patch comes and tells them that they're actually a long-lost crown princes of an island nation off the coast of Vietnam, and it was usurped years ago by an evil foreign mercenary played by Leslie Nielsen for some reason. And Leslie Nielsen has half a face because one time he got stepped on by an elephant, and they have to go and take back the throne, as is their destiny. Also, Rob Schneider is in it. That is the movie. That's the movie. That's the movie. So the beginning just shows them surfing as you would. It's half of the title. And then a ninja shows up. He's dressed as a homeless guy, but he's a ninja. He's got an eye patch. And this is honestly kind of fun because Ernie Reyes Jr., who a year before played the pizza delivery boy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2, an infinitely better ninja movie than this one. He is in there, and his father plays Zatch, the guy with the eye patch. So I thought that was kind of cool that father and son got to do a movie together. That's fine.
I'm so sorry that this is your father-son legacy.
Yeah, I know, it's true. They the next thing that we see is them at the breakfast table with their dad, who was obviously not their dad from the very beginning. He's a very big, fat, gruff, 60-ish white guy named Mac, who's like, "Did you do your homework?" "Oh no, better go." And so they have some really poorly written, I'm not going to defend it, banter between the kids and the dad. And then we see the shadowy figure sneaking into the kitchen and picking up a knife, and then they walk into the kitchen and they see that it's actually Rob Schneider, who is making breakfast. He's chopping up chives and to make an omelet or something. Hilarity ensues. He is like, don't you have parents? I mean, my parents are in the biosphere. Don't you know? Because they're in Arizona, living in the biosphere. There's plants, animals in there, and people, and nobody's allowed in or out. So I won't see them again until 2004. But anyway, how's it going? You want an omelet? Don't stop wearing my boxer shorts as outerwear. Bum bum.
I feel like "don't you have parents" is an aggressive thing.
Yeah, basically.
Say it someone, and also
especially when he has adopted 2 children.
That. And they are like very clearly close friends, so you wouldn't know if he had parents and where they are.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of.
Very weird choice of dialogue, but I will say the opening sequence. This is probably why my expectation is too high. I was in because we got surfing, and we got a ninja right away, and I just wanted, more surfing and ninja.
So I took copious notes on the Notes app for this one. Zatz beats up a bunch of ninjas who were there to obviously kill the kids. If you didn't know they were there to kill the kids, he says in a very clunky voiceover that they were there to kill the kids. Like, I knew they had come to kill the princes. I must defend them. And then they take a ride to school in Rob Schneider's Jeep thing with note and top, and they moto surf, which is where they stand on the chairs while Rob Schneider drives. He's also standing on the chairs. I don't know how he uses the brakes or the gas. But moto surfing is such a thing that there's a phenomenon of it where the cops are known to look out for moto surfers. They show a cop pulling over a different car that is moto surfing. That's a thing. So right away, Rob Schneider's supposed to be in high school. He was 30 at the time this was made. And very famously, since he was on Saturday Night Live,
40?
He was 30. Very famously on Saturday Night Live and not a teenager. So
right.
And that was the beginning of this.
He's not a young looking 30.
No.
That's what I mean. Like,
no, they
the
do
Robster does not look 17. Yeah.
They do a joke of they're talking about, oh, how do I get out of my homework? I know. I'll say that I was so upset last night when I found out I was adopted. You were adopted last night? No, genius. What if I was adopted? What if my dad was actually a king? I'd definitely be out of the 11th grade by now, which means he's a junior and he's been held back, let's say twice, maybe 5 or 6 times. If the joke is that's why he looks so old, because he's actually in his mid-20s and he's such an idiot that he got held back several years, that's one joke. But then that becomes a problem. Why is he hanging out with a 15-year-old who's his best friend if he's actually 23? That's weird.
If this dude goes to prom, I'm creeped out. It's on set.
Yeah, it is weird. But when they get to school, there's a motorcade, and this is when Johnny, the oldest, Ernie Reyes Jr., realizes that he forgot he had to make a speech today welcoming the Babu Ram, which is a holy man from an unnamed Southeast Asian country who is visiting the high school for unknown reasons. The principal gives him a lecture, making sure, hey, man, I know you want to hang 10 and be groovy, but this is very serious. I trust you have done your homework and done a thing. Oh, sure, it's all planned out. I'm screwed. What am I going to do? I know. I found these random a cappella guys dressed in choir outfits. I'll just tell them to back me up while I sing to the Babu Ram, Baba Ran. No, I did not blow by Moto Surf, Ryan. I spent 30 seconds dissecting Moto Surf and how dumb it is. Okay? I will defend this movie more than your friend Kate. But don't you dare accuse me of blowing by stuff that I very clearly covered.
30 seconds too long, I would say, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would like to move Ryan into the acquaintance category if he's going to try and defend this, as opposed to a friend, perhaps just a co-host. I honestly, I was like, you're not a very good teacher. If like the Baba is coming, and this is the first time you've checked in with this kid about this assignment, seems like a big deal. Maybe you should have, before the morning of, especially this kid is notoriously unprepared. And also, adopted dad, not doing a great job. Maybe check in with your kid.
Right. Well, he does. He always asks them, "Did you do your homework?" And they just automatically say no without considering what their homework was and how they would have done it. So that's their fault. He does check in. Did you do your homework? But the other thing is, you are a high school in Metro Los Angeles. And the reason that you have picked this kid, you say yourself, is because he's an Asian student. Why? I'm assuming you've got more than one of those in Metro Los Angeles. Maybe pick the one who's going to be valedictorian and not the one who never shows up to class because he's surfing all the time. Maybe that would be your best bet as a principal.
There are quite a few ethnic and heritage issues with this movie. Which we'll get into. We will get into Rob Schneider's, I'm assuming, improvised casual racist remarks that exist through the entire film. We will get into those when they happen. And speaking Spanish to clearly Asian people as well.
So he gets a bunch of choir guys to help him sing a rendition of Barbara Ann by the Beach Boys, but Baba Ram instead. And the Baba Ram in the front row is taken aback by this.
And weren't we all mortified, Alex?
We are all mortified for him on his behalf.
Of course.
Adam, meanwhile, is failing geography this is a junior/senior high school.
Doesn't know where Spain is.
Doesn't know where Spain is. I did appreciate his wonderful Eddie Haskellness of, some say Spain is here, but those people are wrong. Still, there is some school of thought that says Spain is here. Those people too are wrong. I appreciated that. But there's a ninja who's sneaking into the window, going to throw a ninja star at him, but Zatch is there, Hobo Zatch, to knock him out.
At this point, I was very in on this movie. I was wow. I was like little kid who did that scene actually pretty well. That was quippy. And then a ninja just popping up in the classroom window out of nowhere. I think what I wanted was more surf ninjas and less plot. I don't care about what they're going to do. I just want ninjas popping up in their everyday lives.
So Adam is failing 6th grade geography. And I'm assuming that Johnny was expelled from school.
I would hope
for this little stunt. It's never. This is the only day that they spend in Los Angeles in the movie. So we'll see. They go surfing after school. Got to go surfing in the morning before school and surfing in the afternoon after school. They go. Rob Schneider has to stop and put more wax on his board. The funny thing is the board is full of wax, like clumps and clumps of wax. So he can't go into the water. Rob Schneider, we find out, like, doesn't surf, can't surf. I don't know why it's extra creepy that he's hanging out with these surfing proteges who are perhaps 7 years younger than him at the earliest, and he can't surf himself. It
is. I remember there was an episode of Saved by the Bell where Mr. Belding shows up to the kid's house with a pizza, and I was like, that's creepy. Like, that's not playful or funny. I didn't realize it at the time, but as an adult, he like lays on Zach's bed with a pizza, and I'm like, what is happening? That's kind of how I felt about this, of like, guy who can't surf hanging out with 15-year-olds is clearly double their age. This is why I thought we were going to get a heel turn.
No.
Was like, none of this works or makes sense.
Well,
but instead, what we get,
you have to approach this movie assuming nothing works or makes sense, and it's not like a swerve because nothing makes sense.
Yeah,
therefore,
I am your young grasshopper, so now everything is ruined for me.
I know.
This is all your fault.
Ryan Sullivan with references that we haven't gotten to yet, so they won't make any sense to anybody. Kwansu, dudes, what if you guys didn't hate this movie? See, now you love this instant classic. It is amazing. He begged me to read it now, and nobody has the context for what those things mean. My internet says sketchy, so I apologize if you covered it, but I believe Alex has Rob Schneider's power, so please read my super chat. Nobody watching this has any idea what Rob Schneider's superpower is yet. I was going to save your super chat until I explained to people what Rob Schneider's superpower was so they would get your joke, but now you begged for me to read it now, so I have to do it now, Ryan. I'm going to start burying this movie out of spite for you, okay?
Good. Get back on the
leave
side
it alone. I am all set to give this movie 2 out of 4 stars. Okay? But if you keep it up, it's going down to 1.5. Okay.
You're gonna give this 2 out of 4 stars?
Yeah, I was gonna give it 2 out of 4 stars. There's a spear gun attack. The guy, a scuba diving ninja with a spear gun.
Again, very anonymous.
Was going to assassinate them while surfing, but forgets to calculate that there's surfboards, so he gets hit by one. And I thought this was very clever. We see his corpse wash up onto the beach with one wave, and a little boy making a sandcastle doesn't see it, but his dog does. And then the wave rolls him back out to sea, and the dog runs after it. I thought that was a cute little moment.
Okay, I thought the way that was shot was awesome. My issue with it is we see his spear gun fall to the bottom of the ocean. So why is he dead? Just because he got hit by a surfboard?
He got hit. Well, he's definitely unconscious. He got hit in the head with a.
Oh, okay, unconscious.
With a surfboard.
I can buy.
Yeah,
but I was
he's definitely unconscious.
I was like, that feels like.
And any bump on the head that is enough to knock you out could also kill you.
That's true. It just felt like it went from 0 to 60 really fast.
It did. That night.
But I loved that cinematically. It was really fun. And also, didn't we get a scene right before this where he's like, those kids need to die tonight or something? Leslie Nielsen, I think.
Oh, like, no. I haven't gotten into the Leslie. Let's bring them along slowly for the Leslie Nielsen stuff. Okay. Max,
I'm trying to lead the dance is my toxic trait right now. I just need to let you walk us through Surf Ninjas because your notes are better than mine, because mine are just like, this is awful.
Right. They're hanging out at Max beachside grill called Max Surf and Turf. Surfing turf, like surfing turf. It's a joke.
Like about surfing.
And then Zach shows up, and they say he's a homicidal maniac only because he has an eye patch, that's eye patch racist.
That is, like, first of all, everybody in AEW is homicidal. Then, second of all, that is eye patch racist. My God.
So, and then you see Mac, who sees this guy with the eye patch walk up to the window of his restaurant, and he just goes. And the camera like pushes way in on him, and he goes, Zach. So Mac knows who this guy is, but I think, and this is why I'm leaning towards the 2 stars mark, because the stuff that is bad and unforgivable. But there is something of this thing here of when we figure out how these kids are here and adopted by Mac and everything, that there is an easy way for the movie to just have everything explained to them. When Zach shows up, Mac, if the next scene doesn't happen, Mac walks over and says, Zach, you're here. What's happening? And they say, Dad, do you know this guy? I do. And then Mac and Zach sit down and explain the whole situation to Johnny and Adam. And because Johnny and Adam inherently trust their adoptive father, the movie takes a completely different turn. Or in a much worse so of this, the movie never tells you why Mac won't tell them to believe Zatch. Zatch shows up, Mac immediately recognizes him, and then the ninjas attack the shop. And there's a big fight scene during which Mac is kidnapped and Zatch escapes with the boys. So we never get an opportunity. So we know Zatch and Mac are connected, but the boys don't know that at all, and we don't know how they're connected, which creates intrigue. Now, the movie does nothing with the intrigue, but it does have that very important plot point where the intrigue is created, which is way more than other movies of this caliber would ever do.
If you guys need anything from Alex, ask for it today. Okay, because he's clearly in a good mood.
Very generous.
Very generous today.
There's a guy who fights Mac during this big fight scene between ninjas and Zatch. There's a guy who fights Mac, and he says, "You're getting old, Mac." So the ninjas know who Mac is. That's a plot point. That's interesting. Why would they know Mac? We're going to find out later why they know Mac. There's an escape, and they jump off of the pilings to the pier, off of the pier to the sand below, and then like, what happened? We got to go back for our dad. And then Zatch disappears because he's a ninja, so ninjas disappear like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo disappear, not like vanish into the shadows, just like wink out of existence. So
like in a supernatural way.
Yeah.
Part of my struggle with this movie is part of the same struggle I had with Trading Mom, where I'm like, I don't really feel like the dad and the kids love each other, and then the kids are about to, spoiler alert, risk their lives several times to try and recover their dad.
Right.
So, just like the lack of emotional appeal between father and adopted sons, like they could be adopted and not feel like I adopted you.
Well, there's a difference between foster kids who we know that you're not our dad, but you're kind to us, and we rib you, and like we love living at your house as opposed to an orphanage. That's nice. You know what I mean? But we don't have a real connection to you. Adam, we find out, was adopted by Mac when he was 1 day old. So he has a real connection to this person as his father figure. And Johnny was 4. So he definitely has known his entire life that he has memories of as this guy is his father. It's not like you're ribbing a good-natured uncle. Is what this does feel like. It feels like they love Mac as an uncle. And that's the thing about this movie, is that I don't think the movie ever considers that they could really love Mac as a real father, but they do love him as an uncle. And that's not possible considering how long they've known him. It does feel like both their parents died in a car accident 8 months ago, and they've been living with their uncle, who they know is a good dude, but they don't have a connection with him. But that's not possible considering how long they've known him and been relying on him.
It's also probably tricky because your other father figure is just like your high school peer. So,
Right. So this is where we should talk about. There's a guy living in only I knew that these princes their real home is an island 13,000 miles away. Put a pin in that number because I'll explain later why that's not a thing. But and it's now being ruled.
Love movie geography.
I love it because you know why? You know why I love it so much? Because all it would take is a simple. Well, I guess Google wasn't a thing in 1993, but you could find this information out.
And globes were.
Yes. Anyway, now ruled by an evil man, and so we see Leslie Nielsen. That's his face, like this side of his face, and then he turns this way, and this whole face is all metal and robotic. Okay. So that's the thing. He's got half a face. Okay, there you go. That's all we need to know about that for now. So they go back to the restaurant, and Mac's not there. and Zach shows up there. I don't know why he disappeared, only to reappear right back here again. But he's where he tells them you are crown princes. Like, yeah, and like Rob Schneider says, I knew it. I knew I was actually a king. I'm really a prince. Like, not you. They are crown princes.
Listen, Rob, open up your fucking ears.
Yeah.
Isn't always about you, 30-year-old high schooler.
Right. It's like, I am the real king. And they don't accept that they're crown princes. They walk off, they run out. They don't really believe this. But Rob Schneider's like, what a cool thing. You're using them as a decoy. I know I'm obviously the real king. That's a very good decoy. We won't tell them. Hey guys, I'm gonna go call the cops. Good, you go keep them busy. So the way he keeps them busy.
The thing about plucky comedy sidekicks is they're supposed to be funny.
I know.
He was not. He was mostly racist and bad.
This is they tell the story of Patusan, which Adam thinks he says Portasan, which is like little portable toilets. That's it. It says 13,000 miles away. There's no such place because you wouldn't use that. That is further than halfway around the world.
Right.
So you would just go the opposite direction because it would be a shorter amount of miles. They actually tell you exactly where this place is, Kate. It is off the coast of Vietnam. It doesn't actually exist. Don't look for it on any actual maps, but they show you on a map where it's supposed to exist. Do you know how far away that is? 8,000 miles. All they got to do is tell you that it's 8,000 miles away. Like, just why 13,000 miles away? That's not a possibility from whatever. 4,000 years. One line of warrior kings ruled Patusan as the most peaceful place on earth. For 4,000 years, it was ruled by a line of warrior kings as the most peaceful place on earth. Why would you need to be warrior kings if it was the most peaceful place on earth? Who are you warring with to become warrior kings if it's the most peaceful place on earth?
Because they keep the peace by having a reputation of being warrior.
I guess, but a reputation how? Oh, my great grandfather saw this guy's so long great grandfather fight some other dude because they haven't fought in 4,000 years.
Did you consider that perhaps it wasn't like war, but it was like they were shooting down the walls of Heartache, bang, bang. They were the warrior.
I had not thought of that.
You're welcome.
So there's the birth of Crown Prince Adham.
You're just skating by
Adam.
my amazing.
It's an amazing reference.
Listen,
so much of our comedy is you making a silly remark and me no selling it. Come on, you know how this works. So this is the birth, celebrating the birth of Adam. Get it? So he's an infant. Okay. And then there's a Crown Prince Yauni, like Johnny, who is destined to be a great warrior like his father. Everything is prophesied. I
was actually able to pick up on the subtlety of that. Believe it or not.
Also prophesied bloodshed on this exact day, which to me is like, if this is prophesied and you guys actually believe in prophecies, start doing stuff to make sure this doesn't happen. Like, it's a weird deal. Like, the prophecy of a horrible coup led by a foreign mercenary, Colonel Chi. And I want to know is how foreign. Because the foreign mercenary, Leslie Nielsen, is the foreign mercenary they chose. Also, Colonel Chi is as Asian a name as you could possibly get, but Leslie Nielsen. Like, Asian, but Leslie Nielsen is not a thing you can do, but they did it. He's wearing like a full Shogun warrior outfit.
Alex, like if his name is Leslie, strike one. Like he can't be Asian. If his last name is Nielsen, strike two. He can't be Asian. If his name is Leslie Nielsen and his voice sounds like that,
right.
3 and
Leslie
4.
Nielsen is the guy who gives Zach the cut on his face, which led to an eye patch. So there's history between them. Also, why did Colonel Chi attack and want to kill everybody? But it was prophesied that one day, that on the 16th birthday, the Crown Prince Yaoni would ascend to the throne and be the one to set his people free, which was a threat to Colonel Chi. Okay, well, if you know this is the prophecy you have, and what it requires is that Crown Prince Yaoni would be the one to ascend to the throne and set his people free. All you have to do is set your people free without needing the kid to do it. And then you broke the prophecy. Why are all the people enslaved? Oh, is it because it's the most peaceful nation on earth? Because you keep everybody as slaves? Come on. Let's figure this out. This benevolent warrior king who keeps all the people as slaves. Listen, eventually my kid will get around to freeing all of you. I can't possibly do it because he is prophesied to do it. We got to buy into that. It's ridiculous. When I was ridiculous as
2 stars, you say?
Leslie Nielsen getting stepped on by a runaway elephant. He gets his face stepped on by a runaway elephant, which is why he's got half a face. That was how he got his face stepped on by an elephant.
There are so many things wrong with this. One, I think if you got half your face stepped on, you're dead. By an elephant?
But yes. Oh no, he's wearing a Shogun helmet, so I guess that protects him. But not enough.
You're super dead if it's it's an elephant.
You're super dead.
The other thing is, like, why did the face reparation process make you a robot? This felt very Golden Face from Threat Level Midnight, and that is a parody of that is supposed to be bad. That was more cohesive than the explanation we got here. It was so bad.
So Zach is able to escape with the boys, leaving everyone else to die horribly at the hands of a man who just got his face stepped on by an elephant. Like, I hope he had a really good second in command, because that dude is deader than dead, or at least if somehow he survived, needed a lot of time to convalesce. So if just in case I get stepped on by an elephant, you're in charge, and make sure you kill everybody. That's
a tall ask from a number 2.
So Mac was a former American sailor. He was very loyal to the king for many years. So that's who I entrusted these children to. Why I didn't just take them, I don't know, but I had to give them to Mac so he could take them to Los Angeles, I guess, and open up a burger shop. That burger shop's been there a very long time, certainly longer than 11 years, which is weird. So Leslie Nielsen is in charge of Patu-san now, Colonel Chi. He just does a bunch of Leslie Nielsen shtick that was taken out of the cutting room floor of a Naked Gun movie, which is 100%. he's got an answering machine that he has an outgoing. This is Colonel Chi. Leave a message for the beep. Don't hang up. And as he runs up there, he picks up the phone, and they hung up. He's very angry. And then somebody else calls. It says, yes, kill the children. Kill them. Also, did you hang up earlier? They throws the phone.
I just have in my notes. Can we just watch Naked Gun instead?
So we find out also, while he's helping a cohort named Manchu sharpen an electric knife, like a grandpa would use to cut the Thanksgiving turkey in 1981. A giant electric knife. He's helping him sharpen it on a whetstone. And then Manchu takes it and he walks away, and the cord is wrapped around Leslie Nielsen's foot. So he falls almost into the water. And then he's like, do you realize what happens if this battery pack gets wet? I'm sorry. Well, maybe I will give you something to remember so you never forget what happens if this gets wet. And he threatens to cut off his penis with the electric knife. But then the phone rings again, so he has to go and pick it up. Question. If water getting on your battery pack is such a problem, why is your dungeon full of water? There are rivers running through the entire dungeon. Perhaps you could, if you're a dictator, you could see to seal up whatever it is that's bringing water in through those naturally flowing streams in the dungeon is an idea. Perhaps. By the way, he's got call waiting, so that was a joke everyone used in 1993.
So call waiting was so much of what we have to do is educate people on extremely short-lived times of technology, like the car phone, for example.
Quickly, they meet Detective Toneloke. Detective Toneloke is the most 90s black man ever to be a detective.
Also a detective at Ace Ventura?
Yeah. Yes. He says, you expect me to believe this Colonel Cheese or whatever. No, the kids don't expect you to believe. Matter of fact, they were bored by their own origin story. I'm pretty sure any kid who realizes they were adopted would love for somebody to come out of nowhere and explain where they came from if they're secretly princes. That would be the coolest thing in the world to a kid who was adopted. No, they find it very boring. They almost fall asleep. But where am I taking you kids? Now that we're trying to find your missing adopted father, just take us back to our father's home. Our uncle is staying with us. Uncle Iggy, who's Rob Schneider, in a wheelchair with a Scottish accent and a Hitler mustache for some reason. I don't know why Uncle Iggy the Scotsman has a Hitler mustache, but Rob Schneider thought it was fun.
What on earth? It's a Hitler mustache. It's not anything else.
Nope. If you could argue Charlie Chaplin mustache, but by that point Hitler had taken over. That was now a Hitler mustache.
Yeah, no, he kind of rebranded that one.
Yeah. So he's like, don't make me come out there and beat you with a leg of mine that no longer works, because I'll do it. Which was the most famous line from this movie. Is that, which has no context for whatever. Adam is playing his Game Gear, which is it was the Sega's answer to the Game Boy. And there is a game that clearly shows himself in it, and he doesn't recognize that it's himself.
That's also sexist. Why wasn't the Game a gal?
I don't know. No.
Was that a real thing? I don't remember a Game Gear.
Game Gear was a thing. Yeah, it was not nearly as big because it cost more because it was in color. But Sega was trying to make the Game Gear was the answer. Yeah. They had a sponsorship deal with this movie and Sega Game Gear. So by the way, the Game Gear shows him the future. He's supposed to be like a prince that becomes a great seer, but actually it's the Game Gear that's the great seer, which is kind of weird. So Zatch sneaks right past the beat cops that are posted there to watch out for them, but also so do ninjas. So there's a fight scene, and Zatch leaves the gas on and a candle burning in the middle of the room, and they run away. The beat cops are killed by ninjas. They get a few blocks away, and we got to go back home. I don't think you want to go back there, says Rob Schneider. Our friend here left the gas on. Real smart. What if the house blows up? And then the house blows up. And so Rob Schneider believes that if he uses a phrase, what if something were to happen, then it will happen. The same way he says, what if the house what if the house blows up and it blew up? What if I was actually a king? And he believes he is actually a king, so therefore that proves it. Now you have no choice but to come with me and to follow your destiny. Your destiny will lead you to Little Patusan, which is like Chinatown, and we must go to the Imperial Palace, which is a restaurant. Get it? There's an old man there, very old man, 117 years old. He looks like his name is Gumbay. Get it? Like Gumby. They make a lot of jokes about Gumby, a lot of Gumby jokes. Gumbay, his daughter, who must have been born when he was a sprightly 98 years old, is Johnny's betrothed. I don't want to get married, says Johnny, unless, of course, she's former Miss Teen USA Kelly Hu. Then I will definitely want to get married to former Miss Teen USA Kelly Hu, because she's hot. So they have a ceremony where he's introduced to her, and he asks her if she wants to go to the mall. 90s humor. Next morning, Rob Schneider says apparently they stayed there that night, being hid from the ninjas. He says, Rob Schneider says, man, I couldn't sleep last night. The whole place smelled like chow mein. Not Chinese. The closest possible connection you could have is like the analog would be like Thailand. All of their the clothing, the decor, the worship of elephants is all very Thai. They actually filmed the movie in Thailand, which is why they could get all these ceremonial garbs, because it was all there. So the idea that it smells like chow mein. He also makes a reference later to Johnny being good with fighting with knives, could get a job as a sushi chef, no problem. That's Japanese. He makes a joke about how MSG makes you sick. It doesn't. That was the thing people talked about. Okay.
He also says like something in Spanish. And I was like, the amount of just like, ha ha ha, not white is a lot. And I understand it was a different time, but even for the time, this is not good.
Yeah. CO says, I loved the Game Gear so much. Took that thing everywhere. Took 8 AA batteries that lasted about an hour or two tops.
Oh, no.
I hope Adam had extra batteries for his Game Gear in his backpack or something, because that thing is what is able to tell him, oh, no, they're being attacked in this place. We got to go over there.
It's a good sponsorship if you're Game Gear, honestly. It's like, I am at the crux of the movie, and I am magic, and kids will want to see the future in me.
Johnny learns how to fight because it's his destiny to learn how to fight. Not because he's trained. He just knows all of a sudden how to fight. So they get to get out of there on a shipping vessel. Detective Tone Loc shows up, and they have him take a nap. They use a nerve hold on him. We show Leslie Nielsen torturing Mac. And your sons are coming to join you in hell. So this is a map war crime, okay? They show on a map a little like battleship starting in England, I do not know why, and crossing the Atlantic, going through the Panama Canal, and passed through all of the Pacific Ocean, landing in some area between Indonesia and Vietnam. That's where Patusan is. My question is, why would they start in England, since the actual place they started was Santa Monica? Like, why? What are we doing?
So I gotta say, it's not that I don't fixate on the geography stuff as much as you. I mean, it is, but it's because like I don't really know, like when somebody says 13,000 miles. This one was so egregious that even I noticed. I was like, whoa, why is this multiple continents? Like, why are we starting further away?
We find out Tone Loc was able to escape from the handcuffs they put him in because he pooped out a key.
You sure did, Alex.
I swallowed the key. I swallowed it last Tuesday. How did you know you were going to need it? I swallowed it every Tuesday. I mean, whatever kink you're into, Tone Loc. They trudge through the jungle. They get to they go through the jungle. There's some comedy about knives and whether or not you can buy knives. They have to find the secret cave where Johnny will find the knives of Kwanzaa. So
we also did get a line earlier that felt kind of out of the way from Loc, where he was like, if dollars to donuts, I would assume that your dad just left without you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, he's probably fine. He probably just abandoned you, which is supposed to be like, I get what they were trying to accomplish, but it like.
Well, I think what he was trying to say is
like the tension. Like your dad's okay, don't worry about it. He just skipped town, and the kids are like, "But we're risking our lives for our dad." Was I felt like what that was going for? But then we get this like very weird tension of like, I thought you had a sense of duty, and they're like, we only care about our dad. That's why like them not really having a close relationship felt so messed up.
Right. Yeah. Zach like attacks Johnny. Johnny was able to fight him, like is like a proving ground. Prove how good you are a fighter or whatever. They see there's a chain.
We love it.
Mm-hmm. They see a chain gang while they're on this very narrow path down there, and Rob Sanders says, "Wow, this path is super narrow. What if somebody fell?" Then Adam falls, and Tone Loc grabs onto him, but they both fall, and they slide down the mountain, and they have to mount a rescue operation. And Kelly Hu is along with them, and she uses her feminine wiles, says something to them in Patusani to the guards, where she entices them to follow her into the bushes. And then Johnny is there and kicks all of them and says, "Why did you say to them? You'll find out on our wedding night." So you decided like, "Hey, boys, come on over and."
And at what age?
Yeah, I don't know. 15. They're supposed to be 15. They're supposed to be both of them are supposed to be 15 years old. That is a very important. Yeah. It's 15 years old. So they escape with Adam driving stick. Adam always wanted to drive a car, so finally gets to driving stick because he could just do that.
He could just drive manual. Good for him.
There's a ridiculous joke where like we need something to light this dynamite so we can throw it at him, and Zach just pulls out some cigarettes. It's like, I know I should quit. And I don't know why you care about that. And then Rob Schneider says, "What if you got the patch?" And then he turns to the camera and goes, "Look who I'm talking to." That's the only time anybody breaks the fourth wall, and it's got to be Rob Schneider with that joke. So they got away. They blew up all the bad soldiers following them with dynamite. They got away. Hooray. Now they have the chain gang is now their army. But now they got to get to the island that they're on, which is not actually Patusan. Patusan is the other island where Leslie Nielsen is across this thing. They can't get to it from the beach to the other island because there's all these guns trained at this thing, but we can't get it from the other side because they don't have a boat. So, Adam, what should we do? And he starts looking around at all these trees, and he starts seeing surfboards in his mind. And he says, "Are Patusanis any good at word carving and stuff? We are among the best in the world." Next, like jump to everybody's got a surfboard. Like there's 50 surfboards that have been made out. What is this, 3 weeks later? How long does this movie think it takes to carve a surfboard out of a growing tree? You'd have to cut down the tree, plane it into boards. I have no doubt that the greatest wharf carvers in the world could make a tree into a surfboard. But it would take them several days.
And would they immediately know the right density and stuff? Like, I don't know. I feel like you would need a prototype, even if you were the best in the world. It's a surfboard.
And then Johnny's just like, "All right, guys, practice jumping up onto the board while standing on the beach. All right, you all know how to surf now." And Rob Schneider's like, "This is going to surprise you guys, but I've never surfed in my life." Like, we know. But you have it within you. Then they all paddle out. Then they all surf into the beach of the other place. And they all of them, including some very old men, scale a sheer cliff face to get to the top of this mountain so they can mount a surprise attack. It's all fine. No, everyone's an expert rock climber. Everyone's an expert surfer. Everyone's an expert woodworker. Everyone's an expert rock climber. They get up there, they mount a surprise attack, and it works perfectly. Like Zach gets shot with a revolver that Colonel Chi had on him because he pushes Johnny out of the way. And you know, he takes the bullet. All the kung fu action, top notch. I won't say anything bad about it. It's all very good. Ernie Reyes Sr., longtime stunt coordinator. He was a stunt coordinator for this. He knows how to do this. Ernie Reyes Jr., great protege in martial art. It's all fine, except for the fact that now Ernie Reyes Jr. has to fight Leslie Nielsen wearing a suit of armor, and he almost loses. If it were not for the fact that Adam, with his Game Gear, is causing his weird robotic hand to malfunction, including where it reaches down and grabs himself by the junk, which is a major turning point This man dabba-katoed himself, which is the end of this fight scene. Because then
twisted.
Then Ernie Reyes Jr. pushes him into the water surrounding this temple they're fighting on, and Leslie Nielsen goes. He dies. So they won. And then the best thing in the whole movie happens, which is the speech where the guy abdicates the monarchy. He dissolves the monarchy. This 15-year-old kid is like totally. He says, "What does he say? My first act as king is to dissolve the monarchy and give the governments to its people, because it's your destiny to be free. We are all created equal, just like because I was born into royalty, I'm no different from you. Just put my face on a stamp or a 50-cent piece and call it a day." Great. Can we do that with every monarchy? He's so wise beyond his years that he realizes, let's just do this. He institutes a constitutional republic. Just good for him.
I feel like if you were 15, you'd be like, I'm going to rule everything.
Oh my God.
And that this...
Rob Schneider still thinks that he is going to actually be revealed as the real king. And when he does, any woman that he asks to go out with him, if they say no, he's going to throw them in the dungeon. That's who Rob Schneider is. And that is who most 15-year-olds would be if they actually became king out of nowhere.
So the 30-year-old is the 15-year-old, and the 15-year-old is closer to the 30-year-old.
Yeah.
I feel like a great deal of nothing happened in this movie, considering how much happened in this movie.
Right. Like I glossed over the last half of the movie to get us under our 60-minute time limit.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of just, but it also is meaningless.
Correct. You glossed over half the movie and still covered everything essential in the movie. Like that's not a good use of time in a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen was such a weird choice.
Yeah.
Not because of him, but because of who they
no
have a play.
Yes, because of him. Leslie Nielsen has decided, because he could only be in movies that were like Naked Gun at this time, I'm just going to turn this into Naked Gun whenever I'm on TV. Whenever I'm on screen, the movie is Naked Gun.
It was just...
He died via dabba-katoing himself. It's this Leslie Nielsen's problem. That was his idea. That wasn't in the script.
Not only by dabba-katoing himself, but because Game Gear was messing with his robotic arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ryan, I know you love this movie, okay? Nothing happened. Nothing of consequence happened.
No. Especially because they were able to get Leslie Nielsen off the throne, but he never should have been on the throne in the first place if his dad had just put his son on the throne to get rid of the people to begin with.
That's the other thing is, like, I feel like Mac just kind of...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, Mac's hanging out. He's there. He's fine. He's okay, I guess.
Chilling.
He's just chilling. He says that me and my bride are going back to America to take our SATs, but we'll come back here one day. Okay, here's this. A tyrant was killed, democracy brought to a country. Right. You could do that in about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 96 minutes for this movie. That's the problem.
It felt very long for a 96-minute movie, too. And it was probably like, what, an hour and a half of like non-credits and stuff?
Yeah. All right, everybody.
I'm sorry you find Revolution to be nothing.
Get the
so far out of here.
Get the flick out of here.
I'm doing a dance. That's how far out it is.
Get the flick out of here. Get the flick out of here. We'll see you next week, guys.